Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. It's almost 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and I just woke up from a very short nap, and I'm fucking pissed. I'm in a bad mood, and first, the thing I'm in I'm in bad mood about everything, and I'm not that type of a person. Well, I am becoming that. I guess it's time. I'm 82 years of age, so I guess it's my time to become a mean, cranky, old SOB for no reason. Okay, I am supposed to have eye surgery on December 3rd, but in order to get it, my regular doctor, not my eye doctor, my regular doctor is supposed to sign a form. It's I mentioned it in the previous video. I think I might have shown it to you. I think I just told you what it just it's not. I don't have to go see my regular doctor, but I need to go to my regular doctor to have this form signed, and they have to check a couple blocks on the thing. You know, the paperwork from it's up here on this thing here. Well, no, you've seen it. It's up there. It's up there. It seems to me like it's sort of like if your kid is going to play football or something, the school is going to have maybe a form that has to be signed. Okay, your son can play football. We've told you that something might happen and could be dangerous, but you have to sign this form. And there's a whole bunch of things that are like that are like that in the world, and this is in order to have the eye surgery done on the 3rd, and supposed to have one done on the I forget the date, the next one for one eye, and then a week or so later the other eye done. And I contacted yesterday, I think it was, didn't contact the doctor, but I sent an email, or I did send an email. I logged into my doctor's site explaining, I need this thing that says, one that it's okay to use a anesthetic, the kind of anesthetic that that they put drops in your eye, not the kind that they inject you with in the arm or something like that. And the other thing is that what was the other little thing? Yeah. And so the other day I went to the site of my regular doctor and said, hey, I need this form, before the 3rd or whatever. And then the doctor didn't answer back in this case, but the admitting office or the, whatever, they sent me back, well, you have to make an appointment with the, and I said in this thing, okay, well, this is, I explained it, hey, this is, I don't need a doctor's appointment. It's just a formality I need, and they even have a name for it, which I've never heard before. It's a thing where like you need a form. I'm going to be traveling, to Ethiopia or whatever, and do I need, a shot for Ebola or something? I don't know what in the fuck. This is a formality. So I heard back from them. I'm sorry, we can't. We don't have. The doctors are busy, and we can't schedule you in. There's no opening to schedule you in. Well, they're not really supposed to have to schedule me in. on the thing from the eye doctor, it says, you know, this is not a, I read it yesterday, I think, to you. You know, this is not a doctor's appointment. This is, and they have a name for it, which I've never heard of, you know, which hospitals or doctors, whatever, know that this is like a formality where you, okay, this has been done, so that's taken care of, you know, whatever that. So we can't schedule you, you know, so I left a message hours ago or last night or whatever, you know, to the doctor this time on their site, and I haven't heard anything back. Now, the doctors are really busy there, and especially probably after, you know, Christmas. They were probably closed on Christmas Day and maybe Christmas Eve, and I don't know, you know, but anyway. It sucks. Okay, then I wake up, and I haven't read this yet. I mean, I scanned it really quick. I didn't read this. This is from Amazon, and I haven't read it. I mean, I've scanned it. I see some things popping out at me from it, and I'm fucking pissed. So maybe I'm going to say, maybe at the end of this, I'm going to say, oh, I'm sorry, guys. There's no reason for me to be upset. It's just something from Amazon. So, shall we delve into this news from Amazon? By the way, I've been an Amazon Prime person. You know, here we go. Dear Prime member, we are writing to you today about an upcoming change to your Prime Video experience. Starting January 29th, Prime Video movies and TV shows will include limited advertisements. They will allow us to continue investing in compelling content and keep increasing that investment over a long period of time. We have to have meaningful, we need to have meaningful, fewer ads than linear TV and other streaming TV providers. No action is required from you, and there is no change to the current price of your Prime membership. We will also offer a new ad-free option for an additional $2.99 per month that you can sign up for here, which, of course, I will do, except if I were there, you know, it's $2.99 more a month is what, and there's more coming, by the way. It's $2.99 per month. If I were there, I would probably beat the fucking crap out of them. Now, I wouldn't do it if they'd have made it, it's an additional $3, you know. If they'd have just added a penny to that. I wouldn't kiss their ass, you know, or give them a blowjob or something. But, you know, it's an additional $2.99 per month that you can sign up for here. Okay. Now, what else does Amazon have for us, friends? Prime is very compelling value. Prime members enjoy a wide range of shopping, savings, and entertainment benefits, including, okay, here it comes. More than 300 million items are available with free Prime shipping, and tens of millions of the most popular items are available with free same-day or one-day delivery. Okay, they do have a lot of shit, and they bring it right out to you. I don't know how many businesses they put out of business. How many? Anybody know where there's a bookstore available? And other places? How many small towns in America have basically lost everything? You know, I mean, you're not going to open a shoe store or hat store, or you're not going to, I mean, they put a lot of people out of business. But, well, I'm 82 and have difficulty getting around, and okay, fuck the rest of the people, right? That seems to be their philosophy. So, okay, I'm okay with that. To hell with the rest of the world, right? Access to exclusive and broad streaming video content, including Prime Video, exclusives like The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, The Boys, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, Citadel, The Wheel of Time, Reacher, The Summer I Turned Pretty, as well as blockbuster movies such as Air, Creed 3, Dungeons and Dragons, Candy Cane Lane with Eddie Murphy, and exclusive live sports including NFL Thursday Night Football. Okay. I don't like any of those, I don't care to see any of those videos or shows. Lord of the Rings, I've never watched Lord of the Rings all the way, or, watched all the episodes. And I guess Rings of Power must be part of that. And I did watch some of the Jack Ryan, but the other things I don't care. Those other things I don't fucking care about. Now, the Lord of the Rings, I probably would have watched it, but I think they have like 15 different things or whatever. And if they would just put Lord of the Rings 1, Lord of the Rings 2, Lord of the Rings 3, but no, I'm not going to figure out what order those fucking, I'm just not going to watch them. You can't. Reacher, I've watched Reacher. Actually, what I've done is watched the things taken out of Reacher, and where he's killing somebody or smashing them to pieces or whatever, but where they just make it, okay, here it is, on YouTube, Anyway, I don't care about football or baseball. I mean, sure, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, so if same with the, well, like the Kansas City Chiefs, if they're in the well, they don't call it the World Series. What is that? Whatever the fuck it's care, But I don't care. That's fuck them. Okay, now we're not done yet. Access to, maybe I should switch over to this, and you can watch me fucking have my head explode or something. Okay, now what's next? Access to Prime Video channels. Okay, Prime Video channels, which provide an unmatched selection of subscriptions like, so they're so happy that they're having other things here that they want me to pay, to pay for, I mean, I already pay for some of them. There's Max. I think we pay for Max additional. I mean, I wouldn't. I think Darlene likes it. Paramount Plus we pay for with Showtime. BET, I don't think we pay for. MGM we don't pay for. VIX Plus, I don't know what it is, don't fucking care. Crunchyroll, I don't know what that is and I don't care. PBS Kids, our kids are grown. My youngest is 47 years of age. We don't watch that. NBA League Pass, that must be football, I'm guessing. But I don't like football. And I don't like baseball, I don't like sports. MLB TV, Major League, that must be Major League Baseball. I don't want to watch that. Stars, with a Z. I think we may subscribe to that. Because my ex-wife watches non-stop television 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's see, with no extra apps to download. Oh, wonderful. No extra apps to download. And no cable required. Customers only pay for the ones they want. Oh, that's great. And you can cancel at any time. They're allowing you to cancel. That is fucking wonderful. What a great idea. Did somebody get a Pulitzer Prize or something for the ability that you have now, the ability to unsubscribe from something? I thought that if you unsubscribe for something that you would be condemned to hell and the devil would come and take you immediately to, an inferno of extreme pain. Online stores beyond Amazon.com with Buy with Prime. So you can buy through Amazon, and oh my God, this is wonderful. Oh, how wonderful! What should we shoot fireworks off, or what the fuck's going on? Oh, exclusive deals and shopping events like Prime Day. By the way, Black Fridays and all these kind of things, I never in my fucking life went and lined up behind a crowd and forced my way into some shopping mall or a shoe store or someplace because who makes shoes? I don't know. Stuff like that. Exclusive deals and shopping events like Prime Day. I want them to have low prices, and I'm happy to do it online. I never make it, though. I'm always broke when they have Black Friday or whatever it is that they have. I never have any money for that. They need to schedule that to be available, like Prime Day or Black Friday or whatever it is, when I get my money once a month from Social Security. I'll buy something that's a special deal, and we can just do without the food, Who needs food when you have Prime Day? Ad-free listing of 100 million songs and millions of podcast episodes with Amazon Music. Sure. I hear crickets 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I've been hearing that for years, and the doctors can't do anything about that. I'm not the only one. There's major numbers of people who have that. And you may see advertisements and things on CNN's, down at the bottom where they have the things, and I see things all the time. Oh, doctor discovers that if you pull on the ear or whatever you hear, and that's not, I happen to hear it sounds like crickets. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I hear that. There isn't anything I can do about it. There isn't anything that they can do about it. But you see on sites you go to about how something can be, how that could be fixed. It can't be fixed. By the way, it's not in here. It's not in there. So you'll see these ads on CNN and places like that, and they'll show something stuck in somebody's ear, or them pouring milk in your ear, or you standing on your head, or whatever. No, fucking no. The problem is inside the brain someplace. They've done scans or whatever and gone in and located where that thing is. And I think it varies probably with people. Jonas Salk, who, came up with a cure for polio, or not a cure, but a preventative if you get the shot. Of course, we have how many fucking Americans? And of course, we have people around over in, I don't know, Vietnam and places like that. No, I think it's more the Arab places. They think that the people, the United Nations doctors and nurses who went into whatever country, whatever country it was, or they killed those people, Red Cross people, United Nations medical people who were coming in to prevent children and others from getting polio. They killed them because it goes against their religion, or it's actually this sort of sounds like sort of the United States, Oh, in the United States we got those people now, and they didn't come from Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Iran or whatever. They're born in Alabama and Mississippi and Texas. They've got their guns. Oh, they've got their guns, but the rest of these people are, Okay, access to. Okay, this might be access to unlimited eligible generic prescription medications for only $5 per month, including free shipping, with RX Pass from Amazon Pharmacy. And that's something I worked all my life, usually 2 jobs, and paid into Social Security and paid into Medicare, all that type of stuff. And optional memberships for families for only $6 per month, or $66 annually. I actually, when Amazon made prescriptions available, I called Amazon and I said, here's the insurance company that I have now. Can I get prescriptions, from you? And okay, well, the first time was, now that was right. Okay, the first time was, my doctor's office that I went to, they had pamphlets there. Hey, you can get insurance from, from Amazon, for prescriptions insurance. So I called, Amazon Pharmacy. No, I didn't, because that was the second time. Anyway, so I checked into it, and no, they had some stuff that was cheaper, and I wouldn't even have to have used my insurance, Social Security, insurance thing. Medicare insurance it would be. But the other stuff was what they wouldn't deal with my medical insurance. So then later a change was made. And Amazon had a new plan or something or other. I called Amazon, and they've said a pharmacist. I guess they have. I find there's a shortage of pharmacists. Pharmacy is, they go to school a long time to be a pharmacist. Of course, I'm sure this person was not probably a pharmacy worker, but anyway, it was like, you're talking to a pharmacist. And anyway, I called. Okay, here's what oh, yes. I said, now you take all the, all these prescriptions that I get, you take those, you accept those, you deal with those, yeah. And then, okay, I switched, I went to the pharmacy down 2 blocks away, and I switched over, told them, and they did everything, okay, Mr. Howard. Switched over to Amazon. And then time for my prescriptions, and Amazon says, sorry, your insurance company you know, no, they don't. They didn't say don't do business with us. You know, they wouldn't say that, but no, we don't take it. So I had to undo, and it actually wasn't very difficult. I just had to undo that. And now I could still buy, I'm not going to, because I'm not fucking stupid. I could just get my prescriptions filled, some of them, not all of them. I can get some of the prescriptions filled from Amazon for almost nothing. And actually it's less than what I pay when I pay, you know, the little thing you have to pay when you get your prescriptions, you know. It was actually less. But then I would have had to deal with Amazon for that, and then I'd have to deal with the people down the street who have progressively, that's Walgreens. I'm having problems with them now. I've been having problems with them. I can't get my prescriptions filled. I don't know what's going on. I needed eye drops for, as this is one example, I need eye drops to have available for when if I have my eye surgery. And immediately when I saw these, you know, the eye people there, they, you know, they sent a prescription to the place two blocks down the street. Walgreens. I went to Walgreens. Oh, we don't have it. Oh, it went to this other Walgreens, which happens occasionally. It went to that one. So, you know, you can just go, because it's not very far away. You know, you can, well, I don't have a car, so just have them, you know, just send it over here. Okay, Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, and this was a pharmacist, a young guy, you know, and he said, well, Mr. Howard, I can have your prescription, you know, ready in 40 minutes for you. And now I didn't say, well, I piss about 3 times in 40 minutes time, and I would rather be at home. I didn't say that, you know. Okay, I'm exaggerating, probably only twice in 40 minutes. Well, no, sometimes it's more than that. I didn't say that. I just say, I said, well, I'll come back and pick it up tomorrow. That was a month or so ago. I still haven't got that prescription. And I'm going to need it if they end up doing my eyes. Where are we on this epic journey with Jim Howard? Oh, so let's see. That was high-quality medical care from One Medical for only $9 per month. I wonder if that company, I wonder if they're in China or something. Okay, what's this? Free 2-hour fresh grocery delivery on orders over $100. And delivery charges between $6.95 to $9.95 for orders less than $100. And in-store savings on select groceries and Amazon Fresh and Whole Food Market stores across the USA. Now, Fresh Foods, they took that over, and I don't know about the Whole Food Market, but I think Fresh Fruit isn't Fresh, Amazon Fresh, or well, I wouldn't call that. That's where they have really expensive food, and people are, you know, people that live on Broadway or people that live in Los Angeles or something like that would go there and spend a fortune, you know. Ah, apples that are red and really shine. Oh, bananas, there's no dark spot on the skin and all that kind, you know. I mean, it was, you know, we're wealthier, we're smart or whatever, we're getting this food. So they took them over. So I'm not interested in Whole Foods, you know. Okay, unlimited photo storage with Amazon Photos. You know, I have not unlimited, but I have gigabytes of storage that I don't even, I put stuff, stuff automatically goes on it. I don't even know how many companies I'm doing that for, because I've been around before they existed. Been around before Amazon existed, I think. But anyway, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I should be using one of these, just one of these. But I'm signed up for a bunch of different places, for storing of stuff that I never look up. I take pictures of, something or whatever. I mean, there's stuff on YouTube that's, going to be there. I hope it's going to be on there for a while after I'm gone, but I don't know why. I actually changed my mind, on that. I thought, in the beginning, well, this is great. I had to, use a Polaroid camera and, and then it would develop right in front of your eyes. I was big into photography. I was a kid, I got of course it wasn't, it was like what was sort of expensive, but I got a old version or whatever. My dad bought it. He was working out of town, and he got it off some guy, I think, that needed some money or something or other, not stolen or anything like that. But I went, oh man, I love my twin lens reflex cameras. I just loved looking down and taking the pictures that way, and I got some fantastic pictures. Anyway, photo storage unlimited. Maybe I should be doing with, well, I should just find out which one I should be using. I don't even know which ones I'm using. I just know that all of a sudden things pop up, like, what in the very that come from? Gaming benefits with Prime Gaming. I don't play games. Okay, if you watch my videos, for a long time I did play Civilization, whatever version it was at that time. And I don't play any games anymore. I know that's hard for people to believe because a lot of you contact me, what games do you play? Nothing. My ex-wife plays solitary, but she plays different versions of it, and then she had these other games, she doesn't play anything that I can't think of any games, that are so people talk about them, people spend their lives in the basement, young people spend their lives in the basement, probably smoking marijuana and just playing games. Well, my grandson, he is extremely knowledgeable, he's grown, extremely knowledgeable about computers and gaming. And he lives not right in Fort Worth, but lives with his mother, right outside of Fort Worth. I've contacted him, tried to contact him. Like I've sent him an email. Which one of these two are your email addresses that that you for sure get something on? Never heard back from him. A few times I've had a problem, and I've contacted, Russell, I know you would know immediately what to do about, never hear back from him, because he's playing his games. And he's playing his games. Gigantic monitors, video cards, whatever the current rate for video cards, $1,000 a piece, whatever it is, he has video cards. And that kind of, he's doing that. That's his world. I was surprised, though, when I ended up in the hospital for 6 days. I scratched my leg on the bed frame here, and I didn't take care of it the way, and it was minor, but it's not minor if you don't take care, I ended up there for 6 days, and, I've got medical problems with, enlarged prostate and all this kind of stuff, and it was in the hospital, and I didn't eat anything for 6 days. I couldn't, even when I knew I couldn't eat anything. And of course, then when the meal would come in, there'd be the little thing of Jello, like this is gold, little this little thing of. I thought, oh, okay, well, I can eat Jello. Nope. Could not eat. Nurses are supposed to check, how much you ate, but they check how much you urinate, and that's the whole, story. One, they took off they didn't tell me that they were discontinuing my water pills that I took prescription, they didn't tell me that, and then finally I just had to leave the hospital AMA. And I spent 30 years working hospital security, by the way. I got called I don't know how many times. I wish I had not $1, that wouldn't be quite enough. But I wish I maybe got $100 every time I had to deal with one of those situations. Somebody is leaving AMA. The nurse is saying, telling them, you can't leave, you can't leave. And security's called, and then I have to assess the situation. And okay, is this person, mentally stable? Do they know what's going on? Are they, I have to assess whatever the situation is and deal with it and tell some of these people, okay, really you should listen to the, the doctors and the nurses and everything, but if you want to go, you're certainly free to go, Whatever the situation is, I had to deal with it. And here I was in the hospital. Oh, and so I left AMA after 6 days. Or, I've been there 6 days. So anyway, the nurse, oh, Mr. Howard, you have to, you shouldn't called long distance. A real nice nurse. Actually, the nurse taking care of me, and I'm not even sure she was a nurse. Anyway, I was in the hospital, and I am hard of hearing, and I have been since first grade. And in the hospital, nice hospital, and the people were nice, but on the wall they have a monitor up there, and when they come in, most of the time they don't even look at you. They just look at the monitor, and then and unfortunately, okay, I'm going to come across as being prejudiced or whatever. Believe me, I'm not. I went to battle. They were momentous. No. I've never ever mentioned this before because I only had one confirmation, and I'm not going to go by that. I've never mentioned this before, and I've talked about hospital security and my experiences and that kind of stuff. I've never mentioned this before. I did a grievance, and which I won all my grievances, and so the director of security, who got his, he lost every time that he dealt with me because he shouldn't have dealt with me, and I've mentioned in the past video why. It's not that I'm an angry person who's going to hurt you or come and shoot the place up or anything. It's because I was a union man, United Auto Workers, Boilermakers Union, whatever, and my father was, and when I was in grade school and high school, I was helping my father work to clean up the Boilermakers Union that he belonged to that had prejudice and stuff going on, and then he was finally elected as one of the assistant business. There was a business agent and 2 assistants. He was one of the. I helped him, and I made up signs for him to take, mimeographed off stuff for him to take to the union meetings and all that kind of stuff. And then he eventually, and he actually. And it was surprising, he because he was an old man. I mean, he was, a born of another generation or whatever. He used some words that he shouldn't use, not very often, and I don't think he ever used the N-word, I don't think. But, so after he was elected, the National Labor Relations Board, I think that was the agency, just about every day there would be information that would come to him, and it needed to be, the old rulings needed to be taken out of the binder and the new put into that place or whatever. I did that for him. And I read all the material new material that I put in. And I feel sorry for my director of security at that one hospital. Oh, so I won this 4th or 5th grievance that I did at this hospital. And the director of security then, well, he went, when he lost, he went running to the assistant administrator of the hospital that was in charge of security and whatever. And he'd done that before, though, saying he wanted Jim Howard fired. And then he would go to Human Resources, like when I objected to him making a ruling that, what was it? If you missed a day's work, you had to have a doctor's excuse. And I went to him, Mr. Ross, you can't do that. There's a hospital policy. I can do anything in the goddamn office. No, you can't. We may be in a different color of a uniform, and we may be armed, well, not may, we were, we're armed and whatever, but we still fall under the hospital's policy, in whatever. And so he went screaming a couple times too. Once, actually, we were kind of afraid he was going to jump from his office on the 6th floor. He was a smart guy. And God, I kind of liked him, although he was prejudiced, racially prejudiced. I mean racially prejudiced. No word, no doubt about it. And I confronted him every time on it, and I won every time on it. And on this last time that I won, I just, he went screaming to administration again, saying, that he wanted to fire me, and the assistant administrator that was in charge, actually he'd been in hot water, although he was a nice guy, and he just got caught in the wrong place because he lives close to the director of security and over in Park, Kansas, and their kids went to the same schools together, they went to the same church together, all this kind of stuff. And so, but anyway, he went running to, the assistant administrator of the hospital. And the assistant administrator of the hospital he just had his ass eaten out because he wasn't taking care of the director of security. He was getting his ass eaten out from the hospital administrator. And so he had to show up at the Human Resources office. There was a director of Human Resources, which was a great guy, fair and just and all that kind of stuff. And there was me. And then there was this guy who was the assistant administrator of the hospital who got called, out of his office to go, and then he went there and he was pissed. I mean, blood vessels were on there, whatever. And then he said, Jim, he said, you did a grievance and I took care of that and I did this, and you can't say that Mr. Ross, yells and screams at people anymore, and makes them cry or whatever, and blah, blah. I said, that's right, he has not, He's not done that, but he's doing this. And he was enraged. So then, and of course, the director of security had been told, correct this matter, because I was right, and he was wrong. And the director, just happened to have a departmental meeting that day. It wasn't because of that. And so we're waiting in the security office for the director of security to show up, and the director of security comes in, and he says, I just came from the Human Resources Department, and let's see, it's been quite a few years. I just came from the Human Resources Department, and Human Resources, you know, that he says that Jim Howard is wrong on this. And I said, I'm not wrong. And I said, because I finally just had to, you know, he was wrong about. I said, you know, there are a lot of labor, you know, he says, I called the hospital's labor attorneys, you know, and whatever. And they said, and I said, Mr. Ross, there are a lot of law offices. There are lawyers who, you know, work with unions. There are lawyers that work in all these different areas. But in the entire United States, you're not going to find one lawyer who says that they don't have to pay me for working overtime. I said, that is not, he says, yes, it is. I talked to that. And I said, no, you didn't. You know. And then later I went to the Human Resource, and I said, he said he didn't call. He says he told me that he was going to call, and I told him, no, you're not going to call, because you know, Jim is right or whatever. So then I knew what was going to happen. This was a Friday, I remember, because I knew that the director of security was going to attempt to fire me, because he tried something like that before. He was told, no, Jim Howard is correct. You're not going to fire him. You're not going to give him whatever it was, you know, a warning or anything like that. And so I knew it was going to happen. So I brought paperwork in with me on Monday morning, and I got my radio, you know, I timed in, got my radio. Instead of starting to do my normal, I was a supervisor on the day shift at that time. And started doing my thing, I just went down, and I was down in the park. I supervised 7 parking lot attendants. I was down there, and this elderly parking lot attendant or whatever, Jim, what's going on? I said, I'm going to be fired here in a few minutes. What? No. I said, yeah, I'm going to be fired. And I think he laughed. Yeah, you know, yeah, sure. And then I got a call to come to the office. They had told the director of security, one, they told him he could not fire me. And I think because they had to do that one time, because the director of security was going to fire me, and I forget what it was. I've talked about these, by the way, before on YouTube videos, so you can get all the details in greater detail. So I knew what was going to happen. He was going to call me up to the office and tell me that I was fired. And he was not supposed to call me up to the office at that time. He was supposed to have the director of human resources show up, maybe the assistant administrator of the hospital, which, you know, maybe have him show up at this time, you know. And so I knew what was going to happen. I already had my paperwork where I was going to go over to the federal building. I made a mistake, though. I mean, maybe if I can remember to come back to that. So I knew he was going to fire, and I had taken all I could take from this guy, you know. I mean, I really, I tried to educate him. Half of the things that drove him crazy were jokes that I made, you know, the things that I said, and that were not true, and anybody else would have known they weren't true. But when you think that you are God, then you know, when you make a statement like, oh, so-and-so, you know, some money is missing from the hospital, and so-and-so, you know, he took the money. Yeah, that's where the money is, you know, he took the money. And I said, no, he would not do that, you know, he would not do that. He didn't do it. And I said that the problem is that the money boxes that security goes and picks up, we've been telling you for years and asking you to do something about it, the lid will just, come off. So the person in food service, does their thing, and they put the lid on, put the lid on it, and they lock it. And I said, but they made a mistake counting or something like that. And so I told the director. So anyway, I told the security officers, the director of security, no, that's, oh, yeah. No, he told me himself that he wanted a car. He was black. He told me he wanted a car. And, he wants those dice that hang from the thing, Mr. Ross. And Mr. Ross just closed his eyes, and I tried to help him. And he just sat there with his, there was only myself and the other supervisors with him. And he just closed his eyes. He wouldn't even look at me. So anyway, I knew that. Anyway, I showed up, and I knew I was going to be fired, and I was ready. Fire me. I was ready, and I get called up to the office, and I knew there wouldn't be anybody there who was. I knew he would be told, you have to have. Of course, I wasn't sure who he was going to have, but although the assistant administrator of the hospital was, he did a good job. And when I would be acting director of security, when the director of security, he had some medical problems and stuff, I was always picked. And I told the director of security, no, why don't you rotate, you got 4 supervisors, why don't you rotate it? No, I want you. That set real well with the other, supervisors, and they blamed me for that. So anyway, I get called up, and he says, okay, you're fired. And I said, okay, goodbye. I could have walked right down the hall and gone to Human Resources, or I could have gone right over to the assistant administrator's office. I had never, although I had to deal a few times with the hospital administrator, I could have gone in there and something would have happened, but what happened anyway, and I didn't expect that to happen. And I don't know positively that it did. I wouldn't bet my life on anything, but anyway, I said, okay, and I left and drove over to Kansas City, Kansas, to the federal building, and I had all the dates and other things when he had said, used the N-word, when he did all the stuff that he did, I had all that, I had it all written down, went over there. I knew what was going to happen there, though, and that's where I made a mistake. I went over there, and this was like 8 and 9 in the morning or whatever, and I sat there as the lawyer was writing all this, taking these notes that I had, down. And I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't usually eat breakfast. And I didn't get lunch, and this lawyer is still writing this shit down, and I'm thinking, God damn, I'm sorry I came over here. I don't care that much, but I did come over there, What I should have done is just gone a few blocks over to the agency that handles racial prejudice and that type of stuff. And I had the same information I would have had, they would have, oh man, they would have showed up at the hospital. And they came on, which actually was a mistake on their part, the way they did it, but they came in there, with their hands on their hips or whatever, and blah, 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 and that was not the way they should do that, in my opinion. And, but that's where I should have gone. And I'd have probably got a money settlement, and who knows what. I probably ended up with the director of security's office, although I wasn't qualified, for that, really. Now, but anyway, so, what I did do, though, is I called the Service Employees International Union. Their headquarters is in Washington, D.C. I know it's in Washington, D.C. because my daughter, oldest daughter, worked for them. And she was like one of their key people. In fact, she was in the Los Angeles, California, at the local Service Employees Union there. And I remember on the news, actually I was on the news, I mean, you know, like CNN's, who is going to be the new president of the Service Employees International Union? And because that's, you know, it was like, that was news, big news, because that was a big, and is a big and powerful union, and a successful one. And anyway, in California, there was like so anyway, LaDonna called me and said, Jim, or not Jim, Dad, how would you like a thing for your bulletin board system or whatever? And she said, I've got a scoop for you. And she said, I know who's, because she was working for that union, and she was, you know, in a Los Angeles office. She said, I know who's going to be, and I said, well, you know, thanks, LaDonna, but, you know, maybe 100 people come to my WordPress thing today, or maybe 150, or maybe on a good day 500 people, but it's not going to, you know, this is not CNN or whatever. So anyway, it was announced that the female head of the union in Los Angeles, where my daughter worked, she got that post, and that was earth-shaking, you know, wow, you know, and she went to Washington, D.C. But before she went to Washington, D.C., she called LaDonna in and said, LaDonna, I need you in Washington, D.C. with me. You know, I forget, you know, you're a valuable employee. You know, I need you, and you got to come with me. And so LaDonna went, and wasn't one of her, I mean, she wasn't second in command or anything, you know, but she had a key position there. I've talked about that. I just love the thing where, you know, LaDonna goes there, and LaDonna gets, you know, a big office, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But LaDonna has a boss, and then there's another boss or whatever, you know. Well, there's more than that, you know. It's a big operation. But the two bosses that, you know, were with LaDonna, you know, were like, oh, you know, that office down at the end, the big office, the one that, you know, whatever, I'm going to talk to the, you know, president of the Service Employees International Union or whatever. Didn't say it that way, you know, but I'm trying to make it clear for you. And so LaDonna had a nice office. And anyway, then the president of the Service International, and still the president, by the way, comes down, you know. I don't know if it's the next floor down or the next floor down, or that probably matters, but he came down and said, LaDonna, I want to talk to you. And so they start walking through the, you know, the facility or whatever, and of course the people are, there's the, you know, there's so-and-so, you know. Probably they're going like, what's she talking to Hillary, or what's she talking to LaDonna about? I wonder, you know. And so the president of the union, LaDonna, which one of these offices, which office is yours? And LaDonna, this one over here, and it was a nice office. You know, LaDonna had a nice office. And the president of the union, no, that's not good enough for you. And so he says, come with me, and go down. And then they come to, you know, they come to this office, you know, that the other people want. And she says, this is your office. And LaDonna says, I'm just fine, you know, I don't need that, no, this is your office. This is where I want you. This is where I need you. This is your office. Then later on, LaDonna told me that they put her, and she was, I started a bulletin board system and gave her, you know, when she was little, well, I was in high school, she was in high school or something. She started a computer bulletin board system and helped a lot of other people start it. So she knew a little bit about computers, like most of you all do too, And so anyway, later, a few years later on or whatever, the president of the, LaDonna, you've done great on this job and this job and this job. Got a new job for you, and it's a big one. And it's redoing I don't know exactly what it was. I couldn't understand it, the data processing system for the entire, for the international headquarters and for every one of the locals, that's going to be your job. You got it. And so LaDonna, went out there and started doing, what she needed to do because she's smart. And I can say that because she didn't get it from me. Nobody gets smart from me. So anyway, LaDonna had a big staff that was, because this is a big project, data processing for the Service Employees International Union, And so LaDonna's doing learning to do, what has to be done and how she's going to set it up and everything. And so she has a big people, because she couldn't do everything, she has to assign the best people and all that kind of stuff, doing this stuff. So they're all with, having a meeting with LaDonna. And, well, they had numerous meetings with her, and I guess she used probably a meeting room or something like that. So, anyway, and LaDonna didn't realize, LaDonna says, well, okay, we need to talk about this, so let's go to my office, we're on the floor, well, let's go to my office. And so as they were going, they were probably, no, LaDonna, this and LaDonna. And so then they all go into her office with her. And then they look around. And then LaDonna said she didn't have any more problems, with them. When they saw that office, they knew. So, now what was the one thing that I wanted to mention about, okay, that was it. No. Okay, as soon as I got fired, by the way, that night I called or I guess it wouldn't be night, I called earlier in the day, I called the Kansas City Service Employees International Union. This is before LaDonna was, before they had a new, I called them and I said, hey, you need to go to Trinity Lutheran Hospital, and here's the reasons. They've just made a change that all nurses have to wear their hats, and nurses hate wearing their school caps or whatever, because they try to make them like unique or something, wings on them or who knows, whatever. And maybe it does look professional, I don't know, but anyway, they're making them do that. They just got a new director of nursing at the hospital in, and she is retired from the Army or the Navy, whatever it was. She was a doctor, a RN, and, but an executive, and she came in and she was like, you're all going to wear your hats. No longer can an LPN be in charge of this type of a thing, whatever it was, the unit or whatever. Well, of course, a unit, you'd have to have an RN, but whatever it was, boom, 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 boom. So, and two that they had done is the hospital had just done, it used to be, well, like me too. I was an employee too, so that you could get, well, not 0, but 1 to 7% pay raise each time you had every year when you had your pay raise until you got to the top of this pay scale, but they did that, and they decided to make it 1 to 5 or whatever instead of 1 to 7. I got my first pay raise when I hired into security was 6.5% every time until I reached the top of my pay scale. And after that, I was 7%, all the time, and got fantastic merit review from the director of security I just told you about. Anyway, I called up the Service Employees International Union and whatever. And that when I called security, and that's the only time I ever called I didn't call to find out what was going on. I didn't care. I moved on, and I was happy to move on because the director of security he was actually making me, you know, I mean, he just drove me because I should have been his best friend, because I was helping him. But, on the other hand, he never got fired. Well, he got fired, but not, anyway. But anyway, I'd call the Service Employees International Union. So after a few days or a week or 2 weeks or something like that, a week I think it was or something, I called up to check with the guy who became a supervisor in my place. He just happened to answer the phone. And I said, Richard, what's going on? He said, oh, Jim, he says, oh, you're lucky you're not here. You're not going to believe it. The Service Employees International Union have shown up, and you know how crazy administration goes, and Mr. Ross is going crazy, and it's just horrible. You're just so lucky you're not here. And I said, oh, well. I said, I sent them there. Ah, Jim, yeah, you're so funny. I said, no, I called them up and told them, oh, Jim, you're just so funny, No, you didn't. I said, why would I lie about a thing like that? And he says, well, I know something you don't know. And I said, well, I'm sure you do know. So what's going on? He said, they fired the hospital assistant administrator, the guy that was over the director of security, the guy that I went to with my grievance, had to go to, whatever. And he wasn't he was a good, because I started mentioning that, because I mentioned that I would be in charge when the director of security, which upset the other and it should. I told the director of security, don't do that. But he still insisted on it. But anyway, so Mr. Ross would be, he wasn't military, he was a major. I think he said he was a colonel, but he was a major, retired. And he'd been in a car accident, and he was in the military, but he was with military people in the car, and a drunk smashed into him. And he said, unless he was lying about that too, because he lied about everything, and I couldn't understand why, but he's the only survivor of it, but he got permanent disability, and then he was out of the military, and so like I was acting director of security for several weeks one time when a fantastic new part of the hospital was being built, 8-story parking garage and a receiving dock and a general stores area, all that kind of stuff. I forget how many millions of dollars it cost, and I was involved in that. That's the only time I ever got called to the administrator's office. I got called in there so he could ask me some questions or whatever about it. And he had trouble with the locks or something. They were having trouble with the locks, padlocks and stuff. So the assistant administrator was fired. Oh, okay, so Richard Locke, the security officer that got my position, that supervisor position, he said, oh, they fired, so-and-so. And I said, wow. And that was it. I never told anybody before, even in these videos, until this time, because I don't know it 100% for sure. I'm sure it's true. Because remember, just before he got fired, he had to come to Human Resources, the assistant administrator did, and he was he wanted to fucking kill me. And that was not like him. I knew the only thing that would have done that would have been him getting his ass chewed out because he wasn't because the assistant administrator, or the administrator had found out some of this. I didn't go to that level ever. I didn't go to him. If I'd have gone when you know, when I was having trouble with and I always went through the proper, you know, the grievance procedure, you know. Go to my director of security, you know, go to him. Then the next step is the assistant administrator who's over security. I never went beyond that. So that's the story. Okay, back to fucking. Oh, hey, that got me. Unlimited photo storage with Amazon Photos. Gaming benefits with Prime Gaming. I don't use Prime Gaming. More than 3,000 books and magazines. More than 3,000 books and magazines with Prime Reading. So I'm sure you. Well, I don't know. A free 1-year Grubhub Plus membership trial value at $120 per year, offering unlimited $0 delivery fees on orders over $12. I think Grubhub, that sounds like it's delivery fees. Grub, I guess, could be food. Hub Plus. I always thought that, I'm getting it mixed, I guess, maybe mixed up with something else. Grubhub, I think there's a thing that computer programmers use to store they write their code, and they store their code there, and then they can allow, this Grubhub Plus has got to be some type of a food thing, I think. Should we find out? Grubhub Plus. I don't care, you know, and copy. Anyway, this thing says, as mentioned above, no action is required from you. If you want to sign up for the ad-free option, you can click here. And as always, if you have any questions about your Prime membership, you can manage your account here. So, okay, let us go to, let's see, go to, let's find out what Grubhub Plus is. Nope, that didn't do it. I'm just, okay, I gotta go to, should I go? No, I'll just clear that. Now I'll put Grubhub in to see what happens. Paste that, okay. Okay, it says Grubhub Plus America, Amazon Prime, so I guess we'll find out. Okay, get a year of Grubhub Plus for free, exclusive for Prime members. 0 delivery and lower service fees, 5% Grubhub exclusive offers. Okay, it shows food, so that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. Okay, I got to end this. I'm sorry. I got to do my little mea culpa, mea culpa. Nobody's ever answered. Of course, there's a lot of Catholics, you know. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxa culpa. I was an altar boy. But I feel really cheated because I was never molested or anything. And I was a cute kid. I think I should file some type of a complaint with the Vatican. You know, I was a cute kid. I never got molested. Never knew anybody that got molested. Anyway, thanks very much for watching.